welcome to MMB Airgun Review. Well, today's been a pretty hectic day. A lot of stuff going on. I don't know if you can see, I got two computers here. I got one that's went up. Just got a new one. I've been trying to get everything switched over and compatible with this new Chromebook, and it's not accepting my apps that I have actually paid for already. So we're going to skip by that process. I was going to do a live stream, but it's not going to be live because I can't get this figured out yet. It's going to take a little bit. But I got a nice little box that came today, and we're going to touch base on a few other things that's going to be upcoming in some episodes. But let's get right to it, see what we got in the box. And if this is what I believe it is, this is going to be great. So, what do we got? We got some bubble wrap. We got a kitchen knife. And then we got this. Give me 1 second and get this out of the way. Something else is in there too, but that's not for me. But what we ordered was another Caldwell ballistic precision chronograph. I got the premium kit this time. This is going to be my, let's see, I had my original chronograph that worked great, and then it went on the fritz, and I bought a Caldwell way back when I first started this channel, and it didn't work out of the box, so that ended up going back. Then I bought a couple to replace the original one. One was on a slow boat from China, it never showed up. One came and it was defective, so this is another one. Hopefully this works. We're gonna set this up though. We're gonna open it, and we're gonna see exactly what's in the box because I've never had their premium kit before. So let's see what premium means. It's a pretty heavy box compared to the other one that I got. Anyhow, let's see what they did here. I guess I only had to open up one end here. It comes in a nice bag. Yeah, I like that already. It comes in a nice carrying bag. So what do we get here? We get the stand. We get 25 feet of audio jack cable, which is going to run to the cell phone. We get a Y splitter with a on-off button. And let's see, we get a power cord with a 220-volt adapter. And a light panel battery pack, which is kind of interesting. I did not know that. Plus our sunshades and our carry case. Sunshades have lights on them. So, looks to be pretty decent. Probably should have went this route to begin with, but it's a nice stand already, I can tell you that. And here is our lit sunshades, which is pretty cool. And our second one sunshade. And our manual. So we won't have any excuses with the light not being right, hopefully. Cords. And then we have the chronograph and the cable itself. Nice bag. Looks like we have a European adapter also. Did not expect that. Okay, so I'm going to give them props on appearance and what you get in the bag because I got a few things that I did not expect, which is good. Now these are the photo monitors that are inside of these, how they work. They literally just capture as something passes over it. So that's pretty cool. We're going to set this up. If you guys have never set one of these up before, let me give you a rundown. You get these and you kind of look and you're like, oh no, what do I do? Well, these little rods are in here and these simply slide out like so. And you place them in these little holes. So these are made to be transported. The rods will transport right in your lighting. You slide right in. Let me show you that once again. See the rods right there? So basically you're just going to take your finger, slide them right out. Don't pop them out because you'll break the tabs. Slide them out. There we go. So at least we can get a video out of this. I wanted to go live, but we can discuss everything we need to discuss like this. So then there's little slots here on the chronograph. Just make sure it's in all the way. You're not going to hurt nothing by pushing down on it. Just runs into a solid piece of plastic on the bottom. And what I want to do, make sure that you have it whatever way your power direction is going to be. I got mine on this side. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but you want the plugs each here on the same side. So there is that. Audio cable. Basically that runs to your phone. Let's see what else we got here. We don't have to use batteries with this one because, well, even though we can, there's our battery pack, and it's external this time, not like the other one, which is nice. But we have these adapters. I believe these are the Y cables for up here. Yes, it is. So we're doing this, and that will be over here and out of the way. We should be like that. There we go. You can see how that goes. This can be confusing if you've never had one or don't know exactly how they work. So this is your power to your light. We're gonna plug it in and make sure it turns on. Because if it doesn't turn on, well, of course we would have to put it right back in the box. I believe that's for this part. Yes, there is that. And let me get over here to my plug. Hopefully you guys can see. There's that. And there should be a switch right here. And boom, we have light. I don't know if you can see that or not. Got a light on overhead, but we have light. It is passing through the light. And if you notice, these are not bent like the first version was. These are straight across, so that's pretty nifty. And this is your audio, they call it audio jack cable, but that's what plugs into the side. This gives the reading to your cell phone through the jack. That's how that works. And this is apparently what powers it. But one thing I am not understanding. Light panel battery pack. So, this is a light panel battery pack for here. But what I was hoping this chronograph had, and I guess this one doesn't, is an actual, I guess the batteries are inside of this one itself. What I was hoping that it had was must have been off the 9-volt like the other one, was actually a power source where you could power it if you wanted to. But it's no problem. So this can be ran inside. So basically this is going to go to here. Your batteries go in here. Run it wherever you want. This is going to require a 9-volt if it's like the other one. I take it that it is. But it's a pretty nifty setup. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Let's sit this to the side. I do have a couple more items, but I'm not going to get to those today simply because they're out in the car. But what I am going to get to today is this. So, we're going to go shooting some air guns here shortly. And I have the Cattleman tore down because I'm doing a few things to that, the T2. I have a Cattleman 25 caliber that will be delivered, I'm not sure when, maybe in a week or two. Very excited about that one. It is going to be the M1. We're going to do some quality testing on that. And now that we got set up with our new chronograph that I've been waiting for, then we have finally the Sig Vertis in 22. This is a 14 foot-pound gun, and was a lot of hate that I had for this gun, honestly. But it's a love-hate relationship. I love the looks. It shoots pretty well now, but there's a lot that can go wrong with these guns as far as the accuracy goes, and I can give you a rundown of that. Today what we're going to do with this gun is we're going to get it sighted in with this scope. I bought a couple of these scopes because, well, they're actually pretty awesome. This is another Bushnell trophy. Pretty nice scope. These are the 4-12 by 40. This is the Korean version, not the Chinese version. Yeah, it does make a difference. The glass is a lot better on these. Very crisp, very clear. It has a side parallax on it. and military style turrets, which is nice. And like I said, the glass is very clear. So let's take these caps off. And I want to teach you guys a little bit of a trick if you're going to use a laser bore sighter on these. Any of you air gunners out there that have used the laser bore sighters have probably discovered that sometimes they don't work very well in an air gun, even though they're a 22. So I'm going to show you some tricks with this one to start. So you got an easy way of doing it. Basically, your best bet with this one, and this has an inside barrel that sits into the outside barrel, and if you do not have your flash hider on, so let's pull off this flash hider. And I got it, should have it loose, so already, there we go. So I'm going to pull off the flash hider. When the flash hider on this, as you can see, it sits down in, well, that actually stabilizes the inside of the barrel on these, which is a very piss poor design. So now you can see inside of that barrel. You can see the barrel does not sit round in the outside barrel right now. So this spacer's necessary to make this shoot correctly. So if you pull this off and you try to bore sight this with a laser, you're going to be way off. Way off. Mine, in my case, was almost out of the scope view at any kind of distance, which is, probably 10, I don't know, 20 yards across to the wall. I focus, I don't use any targets. I focus the dot on a corner in the wall, I V it into a corner, and then I set my turrets to match to get me on paper, basically. So you're going to want to keep this on if you're going to do this, because it does keep everything in position. Okay? So you can take out your bore sighter. Here she is. Now, there is an adapter, which is here, for the 22. Now, while this adapter, these are a very good setup. This is a Simmons one. It's not a very good setup, but if you get down in there and you start to twist this, it's not down in very far, and it really doesn't have any stabilization. So what you want to do is take this out. Take that, don't use that 22 adapter, because what you'll find with the Sig especially is this actually itself fits in that bore pretty decently. Let the end of your flash hider sit right here like that, and it'll keep that perfectly straight so everything's in line with each other. But there's a trick, okay? Don't aim your gun down, because it will fall down. This will move on you. So what you're going to want to do, put it in, press it down, turn on your laser scope. If you're like me, I'll show you another trick. What I do when you buy these is there's a little piece of plastic, like your finger. You pull your plastic out, there's a little piece of plastic. That keeps the battery from accidentally touching. Okay, and I sit that to the side. Then we put our cap back on, and this, you turn this, this is what activates the laser. Okay, now that's in, and as you can see, the laser beam is on, and I just want to make sure, I'm going to keep the gun uphill a little bit, okay, and I'm going to put it in, I got this kind of right in the corner, so now I can hold the gun, and I can adjust my turrets, and if you can do this in a gun vise or whatever you want, and I know I got to come over now to the left, boom, and I'm dead center. That's dead center right now. I have done this gun before, so I did have to bring this over, but I've taken it apart. So that's dead center right now. Adjust your up and down, your elevation, whatever you need to do. That's the best bet. Just make sure you keep the gun at a slight angle. It keeps that in perfectly, and you're going to get on paper. And that's what all these are good for, is getting on paper. Not going to put you dead center on the target, therefore getting on paper. So I take the cap off now of the laser, click my finger, I get my little sticky, not sticky, it's just a piece of plastic, and I use that to pop back in there. Put the cap back on, the battery won't touch that way. You don't have to worry about it going dead in the package. It shouldn't touch that way. There we go. Pull it out, put it back in your package. Now on the Cattleman gun, I did use the adapter because it sits down in the barrel nicely. So a difference in barrels. There's definitely a difference in barrels. So there is that. So this gun is ready to be put on paper now. So we will be getting to, actually, the sun's been shining lately a little bit, so we will be getting to that so I can show you guys the accuracy and the feet per second. This tank is at 3,000 psi, about 200 bar right now. It's been that way since the last time I actually pulled the trigger on this gun, which was about, man, well over a month ago. It has not moved at all, so that's a good sign. At least that's good. So there is that. Now, moving on. A gun, an air gun that you guys might have that you want to bore sight, and I do not recommend bore sighting it because you're going to have issues every time. That is the Black Ops in 22. There's an issue with this gun. Now, this is a very accurate gun. This is a, for the price point of this gun, I think this gun cost me $175 or $179. The company that makes it is actually revamping their website. I actually forget the name of the company now. But they got some interesting stuff coming out. They got a hold of me the other day. They're revamping the company, and they're going to be getting me some air guns to review for you. So that's exciting. This particular one, 22 version, over 1,000 feet per second in 22. This cracks the sound barrier with, I've cracked it with H&N Hornets. And that's pretty much what I ran in it. It seems to like them, so I stick with them. They're a 16.20 grain, or 105 gram. They're really accurate, and I've hit out to 75 yards with this pretty decently. Nothing spectacular, but decent at 75 yards. I call it the max. That's the max. You're pushing it. Realistically, for you guys, 45, 50 yards, good break barrel. Well made, very sturdy, and it's fairly quiet, but it does go supersonic on you. But once in a while, I mean, it's on that verge. It's weather conditions. You get, with the right humidity and temperature and whatever variance you got, it will go supersonic on you. And the cold, it goes supersonic a lot quicker than it will in the warm air too. The molecules in the air are different. So the suppressors that are on these. So they got a design. I was kind of iffy on the design of these. And it does have a sound cancellation effect that does come back in this. I did get in there with my scope and checked it. I got a little bore scope and checked it out. And it does. So it's pretty neat. But I don't like that you can't remove these. At least I don't see a way to remove them. But the problem is when you go to bore sight these, when you stick the bore sighter down in, it gets caught. And then you're stuck and you cannot get the little breakable tips out to bore sight these. And unfortunately, just dropping it down in like I did with the Sig Sauer Vertis does not work. It's just too wobbly. So your barrel on these is really not that long. It starts here and comes up into about here, maybe. See that or not? About from here to here. So it's not very long, but it is an accurate gun. It very consistent. I mean, very consistent at the distances. Like I said, 45 to 50 yards. It's pretty consistent, and the scope that comes with it is about right for the distance. And the one that's on it right now is a little bit different. And I've changed some glass, and it was a nitrogen scope. There's no nitrogen filled in it anymore, so we did some experimenting, but it works fine. So I wanted to pass that tip along to you with the Black Ops. Do not try to bore sight this gun. It is not recommended at all. And if you think you're going to put it in the suppressor end and maybe expand it in the suppressor end, you're asking for trouble. How do I know? Because I did it twice to make sure that you couldn't do it. So I sacrificed a bore sighter little plug to confirm that. So that's that. As far as anything else goes, we have what I'll be unboxing, a shooting little bench, not a bench, a rest that I picked up. That is a Allen shooting rest. It was relatively inexpensive, about 38 bucks. Um, I used one at the range that somebody was using, and I was pretty impressed with it. I kind of liked the way it functioned and actually held my guns, so I preferred it over the Caldwell. So I picked up one inexpensive that's actually in the car, and I picked up a nice target setup to hold my targets. So when we're at the range, we can set up some decent targets, and I can get you guys some decent footage. And also, what I did, hallelujah, I picked up, it was shipped today, waiting for it, a nice camera mount for the scope where I can really show you guys the targets that I'm hitting, where there is no question about it. But there is some problems with that system. One, I can't offhand the rifle shooting it that way. Two, I can't put my eye up to the scope because, so we're going to sight it in using the camera, which is in my case going to be a Samsung Galaxy S21. We're going to see how that works, and we're going to see how far out we can hit, and we're going to try to see if a pellet destabilizes, where it destabilizes in flight, and see if it restabilizes later on, because I've been hearing some things from H&N saying that pellets will destabilize and then actually stabilize at a longer distance. So I have a feeling that's true, judging by what I'm seeing out there, especially with that world record of the 177 pellet that was a 7 grain reaching out 150 yards and hitting almost the center of the bullseye using open sights. Now, to me, that seems like an impossible shot, but it was done. And that was done using a pellet that was designed for pistols at less than 10 meters. So that's pretty impressive. So looks like the physics are saying that they're stable, destabilize, and then come back into stabilization. So we're going to have to check that out. I'm curious. I'm sure you are too. Please hit that like button, share, subscribe, and I will be back to you soon with more cool content and lots to talk about. Thanks for watching M&B Airgun Review, and you have a great day.